Hello everyone and welcome to SNL Movie Chats, and we're your hosts, Joshua Lewis
and John Henry Singleton.
And today we'll be talking to you about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Now remember, this is a spoiler chat, spoiler discussion, so please, if you didn't check out the episode, take the time, go check it out, and come right back. We'll be right here. So, let's start chatting. John?
Man, let me tell you, one, I've been so looking forward to this, simply just because Captain America is my favorite character in the MCU. And this is like the pseudo-sequel to him. This is his legacy being shown through his best friends, honestly, that he gained through his time in the MCU. And I feel like this was such a really good first episode, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing too crazy, but they did a really good job of setting up our characters, where they are since the last time we saw them. It was a really nice little introduction to our sweet little world.
Yeah, I agree. And I like that this is almost, coming from, Far From Home and even WandaVision, this was set really, a couple weeks?
I think they said a couple months. It's only been like 6 months, I think.
Yeah, so, and it's crazy just to see how the world is still really impacted from what happened from Endgame. And I mean, anybody would be, half the population did disappear, so just seeing, and two of the characters we're following in the show, both of them disappeared.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing a beautiful job of right now, currently in the MCU, is explaining to us the trials and tribulations of what the blip caused to the world, without giving us some sort of like television show or some like full flashback to. We don't need to see all that, but they're doing this great job of being like, hey, for instance, the bake scene when they're going to get the loan, they do this great job of, it does suck because you want to root for your hero, and you want them to get everything that they need and they want, but in that bank realistic world, he has no credit, no proof of earnings for the last 5 years because he didn't exist. And that's so shitty that's like the bank's rules, but it's just tough. And those are like one of those really interesting concepts and things that they tell us about, like consequences of the blip, because the bank still has to follow their rules, but
Yeah, and something even subtly that I definitely picked up in the bank scene specifically was just how talking to the bank teller about trying to get the loan, and just kind of the way he was kind of starting to act once they got over the whole, you have a superhero kind of being right in front of you, but just getting back to just the reality of, just the race thing kind of coming in play, because I know his sister brought up, something very subtle, and I do appreciate that it wasn't too in your face about it, but in reality, it doesn't always have to be in your face for you to recognize it and to not, recognize when it's there and when it's not.
Like the seriousness. I think I understand what you're talking about after, when they leave the bank.
Yeah, but even when they were talking about it, because she made a comment about just something about him saying something to them, and just, of course, like, you're saying it to us, kind of. And I also appreciate that with the direction that they took with just that specific part in the show, that specific scene, that, again, they didn't really say to you, but if you were aware of it, you noticed it, And I feel like that's just as real world as it can get. So I appreciate that they're not shying away from talking about or even bringing to light like issues like that. But even with that, it really is tough to see Sam kind of deal with these things. And honestly, going back to the Winter Soldier, I definitely like Sam Wilson as a character. He wasn't my favorite, I'm not gonna lie. He wasn't my favorite at all. But I definitely do appreciate his journey that he has come from since the Winter Soldier.
I think that almost escalates what's so like neat about these shows. Characters that we may have loved but didn't really, or characters that we cared about but didn't really love, and oh my god, we can't wait to see this character again. These television shows are like shining the light on these characters and giving us more depth and more of them, so we can relate more and understand them more. And it's really nice. Getting to meet his family.
Oh yeah, I love
them. Look, him giving up the shield, I think that is easily going to be the reason why Sam and
they talked about that.
Yeah, seriously.
I definitely felt, I understand where Sam is coming from, because like you were saying, that is not just a shield; it's a symbol, and just to carry the weight of that, and even the line he said to Captain America at the end of Endgame, of it feeling like it's someone else's. I truly understand that, because how do you shake that feeling of carrying something that you know your best friend used for years and years. Like, how can you just hold that, that weight on your shoulders?
Yeah,
Like, it really is a lot.
that he caused.
Yeah, so just that speech he was giving, I definitely felt him in that moment. Until you found out that he was giving the shield away. And I don't know about anyone else, but I'm not giving away anything Captain America gave me. That's
No,
just
I
me,
agree.
but...
I got his thought process behind it because he was aware, or he thought, that he was simply retiring the shield and it was going to join the Captain America collection in the museum.
Right.
But in typical fashion, the government was just pulling a fast one on him and really just wanted to get the shield away from him without, probably going through any of that more intense legal things and kind of pressing him about. I'm sure there's a behind the scenes that we probably never see of them going, are you going to don the shield? What are you going to do? Are you going to give it up? People need to know what's happening, that kind of thing. And I feel like he was getting pressed before he could emotionally come to like a proper place to make that kind of decision. And I feel like that's a nice little parable that I caught in the episode, was him trying so hard to save the boat that his family, his parents got for them, and that was their business, to not get rid of their legacy. I feel like after giving up the shield, he almost
thinking about that.
felt what he had did was wrong, so instead of trying to take that back, he was trying to fix something that he still possibly could. That's kind of how I felt about that scene as a whole, that whole motion.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't even think about that. And I do really like let's talk about the beginning of that episode real fast.
Oh, man.
When we were watching it, I was thoroughly shocked we were getting that much
that quality
action. Yeah,
that quality.
Generally, I felt like I was watching a movie again. So it's even crazy to think that this is a TV show we're watching. But damn, talk about Sam's new look. God, it looks amazing.
It's like every time we see him, his suit just gets a little bit sexier, and there's just it is. That's the best way to put it. It's crisp. It's getting to that moment where it's just beautifully adapted. It's like, this isn't the comic book suit, but damn, does it look good. This doesn't need to be the comic book suit at this point.
At all. It just looks grounded. It looks real world, and I love that. And just even putting in the details of just the wings and just how sharp they are, and almost how I feel like the wings kind of almost have a mind of its own, because like they just react even if he's not in the moment knowing about something like about to happen. Yeah, like it's real subtle. But I definitely like that. I thought that was really cool. And I do like that they dropped that Tony kind of assisted with his suit being the way it is.
I mean,
in some way, shape, or form. So he doesn't have to be here, but he's definitely still in the MCU.
Still making a difference.
I love you, Iron Man.
Another thing too is that I like how they are showing off Red Wing again.
Oh, yeah.
After Civil War is like, no, we upgraded him even more. At least that's what it feels like. It's so cool. That's another cool like comic adaptation that it did, where it's not a real eagle, but it's like this mechanical like sidekick. It's kind of awesome.
Yeah, it's really nice. And something else that, well, just segueing from Sam, because it's the Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
True.
So just going into him, his first scene coming in, honestly, I wasn't sure. I didn't even know that was a past scene.
It did take me a second to realize.
Honestly, I thought he put the mask back on. I thought he was, wiping out Hydra members maybe that were still like lingering around. But then when they do the shot of him saying "Hail Hydra," and then going for the guy that was just wrong place, wrong time, it was just like, oh no, this is old Winter Soldier.
Yeah, I think it took a second or two. But once the scene started going and I saw his arm, that's when it clicked for me, and I was like, oh damn, this is flashback stuff. Okay, so then how does this relate? And I feel like they did this really nice thing of setting up he's just having like nightmares, because we haven't really followed a lot of Bucky's like journey since really he's been back as the Winter Soldier. So it was nice to see more of that, and how, he still has nightmares of the things that he did. And I feel like this episode, what he's going through, maybe throughout the whole show, almost builds on that one line that he says to Tony in Civil War, where he goes, "Do you even remember them?" and then Sam goes, I remember all of them.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like that's what this is. It's like, I remember all the people that I've harmed and wrong, like I done wrong to, and I want to fix that.
And he even made a list of names of people that he eventually wants to do right by. So I really, and it just, I think they're also taking great cues from what WandaVision kind of was doing with Scarlet Witch, and just kind of getting into her psyche a little bit with like every episode, just, you know, kind of dropping little details of just, you know, how she really been through a lot of trauma, especially going towards the end of the season. But with the Winter Soldier, we're already going into the show knowing that, and just knowing how like effed up his life has been, especially coming up to this point and getting blipped on top of that. So with the nightmares, and then him like being friends with the dad of someone friends with the dad with someone, like he killed his son.
Talk about a reveal. I did not see that coming at all. I don't know what I thought like that character was. I thought he was just like some older gentleman he had befriended because, well, it's hard for him to make friends with people from this era. That's kind of what I thought. And then they hit you with that reveal, and it smacks you. I don't know why that passed over my head. That right there is good, like, writing and good storytelling.
Definitely.
Whew, the way when he opens that door and Bucky makes eye contact with the picture, and it all becomes clear to the audience, you're like, oh my god, this is why he's hanging around and becoming friends with him. And I love that moment where he decides that he's now come to the point where he wants to make amends and tell this person and help them move on, but at the same point he knows doing that will essentially destroy their friendship. Mm-hmm. So he comes to that moment where he decides not to tell him at this point. I'm pretty sure by the end of the show he will have told him, but I mean, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
And since we're talking about him, I love the interaction with him and the therapist.
Oh yeah,
it's so great.
Really, I was thinking about as well. Great interaction. Very real conversation as well. Real dialogue. I don't for a moment, and that just goes to the credit of the actors and actresses in that scene. I don't for a moment feel like it's being forced. You know, it really feels natural, especially with her trying to get stuff out of him. Mm-hmm. And I also think the MCU is doing a great job of just dropping information that we didn't get, you know, before this, like how Bucky's pardoned now, but with his pardon deal, he has to, you know, come to these therapy sessions, which he definitely needs, because I mean, breaking down the Winter Soldier is a lot, and we see that with just him, even not even confessing about his nightmares, but we can tell like besides his nightmare, there's just a whole bunch of other things going on in his head, and I also like the tone that the show kind of switched into once the Winter Soldier came on screen as well. Mm-hmm. It
almost felt like the two characters had their own tone, and which since it's only 6 episodes, I hope happens next episode, when they get together, that it'll blend well, where we'll get semi-seriousness, more comedy from Mackie's end, serious, semi-funny with Sam's end, I think, or with Bucky's end. I think that'll be a good blend.
Yeah, and for Bucky, I really appreciate that they kind of kept his funniness throughout the MCU, because even before, going back to the Captain America the First Avenger, Bucky was a funny character.
No, he really is. His dry satire.
Yeah, he's hilarious. So I'm glad that even now, with all the war wounds he has, he kind of can still have that part of him, you know, still come to the forefront, and we see it. So I can't wait to just see him and Sam back together, and we're just gonna get some more like Civil War and a taxi cab dialogue. I can't wait for that.
Another thing this episode introduces to, which is the Flag Smashers, which I'm assuming is going to be our season's antagonist. Mm-hmm. It's very interesting. I didn't even know until after the episode aired that the Flag Smasher was a character in the comics.
Oh, really?
Like he was his own person. Yeah, I didn't know that. And then it made me go, oh, okay, so they're switching it up. He's not necessarily one entity. He's like a group. I'm not sure yet, a lot of speculation, but I have a feeling that Zemo is behind the group, or he's going to get involved with the group.
Yeah, some way, shape, or form.
And, of course, the person who brought up the Flag Smashers, another thing I found out, is Torres, which turns out to be the person who takes up the mantle of the Falcon, when Sam Wilson takes up the mantle of Captain America, which I also didn't know.
Me neither, but even talking about him, Torres, I really liked his introduction to the show. He's already an an established agent. They don't go into too much about it, but we definitely know he's on the good side. And definitely appreciate that. I love just the light he brings to it. I love the character already. Honestly, and I'm ready to see more of him. He's so driven for justice. That's kind of what I got from him, but in his own way of just not being the run-of-the-mill, stuck up. Yeah, I'm here for justice, but he's almost bringing like that new agey kind of.
Yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. It was really funny when him and Sam are talking after the action sequence in the beginning, and he's like spitting facts about what the internet thinks happened to Captain America, and then he asks him if he flied him to the moon. I think that's pretty. That's such a funny theory that it's believable, or he thinks enough to actually ask him in the first place if he actually did that or not.
And I do like that he's kind of the forefront of investigating the Flag Smasher suit, because I even thought it was cool when he had the phone out. You don't really know what he's doing, but then when he's kind of just like on his camera and just kind of like
it was almost like a QR code kind of thing.
Yeah, it's almost like he already knew what to look for, and that's just kind of what he was doing. So I'm very interested in seeing his character progression just through the MCU as a whole, through this show and the MCU as a whole.
Yeah, I think by the end of this show, we'll get a better idea of if he's going to stick around or not. Because with the MCU, you can never really know. Just because it happened in the comics doesn't mean it's going to happen in the television or the the movies and stuff. So while it could just be an Easter egg, it could also not. They've done some fake outs. A little Evan Peters, a little Ben Kingsley. They could do it again, but not on that degree, simply because they're not telling us he's a character. So, you have any? Well, before we go into that, some things that we didn't get introduced yet. We didn't meet Agent 13 in this episode. She didn't come back yet.
Oh yeah, they're saving her.
No Zemo. She's gonna come on some independent woman shit and just really go to town on somebody.
I think we probably see Zemo before we see her. If
I
I
agree.
To make a prediction.
I think she was speaking of like cameos, Don Cheadle.
Oh yeah, that was Don Cheadle, the guy from the Winter Soldier that Captain America fought in the beginning of the movie. Yeah, that was kind of really nice to just see a familiar face that he's a bad guy, so we don't want him to win, but it's cool when they have the bad guys that they don't just kill off, come back and just utilize them again, because why not?
I think that's like a cool thing that as we get further down the line with the MCU, they keep this comic book-esque continuity world building in where they don't have to be together just to do superhero things. It was extremely logical for Rhodey to be at the Captain America.
Oh yeah, and I feel like Rhodey was almost us wanting to ask Sam, the question he asked him, just why not take up the mantle, why give up the shield, just kind of really trying to get into Sam's mental a little bit. So, but it was definitely a pleasant surprise seeing Don Cheadle in there. Shout out Rose, love you, man.
And then I think the last thing we can talk about before our expectations for next week,
probably our biggest dislike,
is Walmart Captain America. What is going on here?
We're not rocking with discount cap. Shout out hashtag discount cap in the comments.
We're not fucking cap.
We're not fucking with it.
I think already off rip we're gonna have a disdain towards the character because of what the government did to set him up and get the shield, yada yada yada. But then for it to be like that, now granted, I'm not trying to knock the gentleman who plays said Captain America or Agent Liberty. What's his name? Agent something. Agent Liberty's from Supergirl. I don't know what I'm talking about. Agent something from the comics, but I do like the suit. But there was just something about maybe that camera angle or that crooked smile. Was it intentional? I don't know, but it just wasn't working for me, wasn't it?
I think I do like how they're playing on. I think they're playing a little fun at how Chris Evans did used to look in the Captain America outfit.
True.
So with that, I do kind of, it is a little funny, but I don't like it at all. No. I just don't. At least just what the show is trying to do with the Captain America symbol. I don't think that's just someone you give the shield to and just announce him Captain America. I don't think it works like that.
Yeah, I agree. I also think that it's one of those things where it's like, I believe that it is a mantle. I don't believe that one particular character. It's almost like the Avatar, for instance. There are really staple placed avatars in that realm, but it is a mantle that passes on. That's how I feel about the Falcon or any hero's mantle or surname. But the way that this particular Captain America is brought up, it doesn't feel like it's something that the government could just assign. They could pull any Bobby Who out of the military and just be like, boom, congratulations, you're Captain America.
And even with that, it's not the first time we've seen, government higher powers kind of take a symbol or something and kind of use that in their own way, whether it be, for good or bad. And in this case, I'm not saying it's bad, just, again, I don't think you can just announce someone Captain America and it hit home the same way old Cap did, just because Cap didn't. Yeah, there was a time he worked with the military and the government, things like that, but Cap also knew that he didn't follow orders blindly. He stood his ground when he felt like he needed to, and that's the type of person we need as Captain America, someone who can weed out the black and the white. You know what I mean?
Planted himself like a tree and said, "No, you move." That's exactly what Cap did, and nobody wears that helmet like Chris Evans, damn it.
Nobody.
All right, so what are your expectations for next week's episode? What do you think?
I think we definitely get a cameo of Zemo, hopefully. Maybe in a prison cell, maybe out of it. I mean, who knows what's happened in these last 5 years with him. I'm not even sure if he got blipped out or not. So that would be interesting to find out, too. I don't think we see Sharon Carter yet. I think we wait about episode 3, 4, she comes in. And then hopefully the Winter Soldier and Falcon link up.
Yeah, I feel like what I'm expecting from next episode is a little bit deeper into the Flag Smashers. At least by mid to end episode, Sam and Buck are together. And then, like you said, something in the Zemo-esque area, maybe right at the end of the episode, we get to see him. Something, because you gotta remember, there's only 6 episodes, so there's only so much time for them to introduce people and things like that. If they're gonna be more than just a 1-episode person, like Sharon probably is gonna be. So, and I think I can't really expect much more. I don't want to put too many eggs in one basket, and then not be disappointed, but just that didn't happen, that kind of stuff. I do think if they don't get the shield by the end of the next episode, they at least have some sort of plan to get the shield, because there are obviously scenes with Sam that we've seen in the trailer where he has the shield. Yeah. So.
And because they showed us that house too that he's staying at. Or his
somewhere.
sister's house.
It looks like Louisiana now that we know that's the backdrop. So maybe we get to see that too.
Yeah, but he definitely needs to get that shield back ASAP.
And then I guess my last question before we close it off would be episode 1 of Winter Soldier and the Falcon. Are you taking it or are you leaving it?
Oh, this is definitely taking it all the way home, putting it in DVD, I'm streaming it to the TV, whatever I gotta do, I'm watching that, and you guys should too, if you haven't already.
I agree. I'm taking it. I'm taking it to the bank. I'm taking it to where I will watch I'd stay up at 3 a.m. to watch the episode when it drops. That's how far I'm taking it. I'm taking it.
All the way.
And with that, we'll end the chat there. Thank you to everyone watching.
Thank you.
And if you like being a part of the chat, hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, and make sure that you have that notification bell ringing for next week's episode of SNL Movie Chats. Until then, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at JohnEmery97.
And you can follow me at Joshy5K on Instagram and Twitter.
Make sure you support your local movie theater and or your streaming service of choice. And until next time, thanks for chatting.